want to talk to y'all a little bit about investing in what we do. And it's one of the great things about White Line Realty. As far as I know, we're the only brokerage that allow you to sell your own houses, do wholesaling, do all that kind of stuff. As long as you follow the rules, the major rule, guys, is the Exhibit Alpha. But this idea for this Zoom came out of necessity, honestly, on my part. I said a little bit about the video earlier, but I just wanted to share in case y'all didn't get a chance to watch it. But I've centered the birth of White Line came about from investing. Eric was running a company. They were doing 120 flips a year. I mean, it was a machine. I came in, started helping out a little bit, started learning the business. One thing led to another. Here we are with a brokerage that encourages investing and that we want to teach it. Like, we want you to invest. We want you to learn how to flip, learn how to get rentals, because, you know, this job doesn't come with a 401k. All right. If you were working as a realtor for a very long period of time, there is no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow unless you're saving it. Guys, you should have something called an IRA, preferably a Roth IRA if you can. Get a Roth IRA if you can, if you don't make too much money. If not, get a traditional IRA. That's not the point of this. But the way that I invest, guys, is I get rental properties. I started wholesaling, doing some little things to get some cash. Once I got some cash, I started doing flips. Once you get some flips, then you start buying some rentals. You start holding those rentals. And guys, those are my golden eggs. Okay. I've got 30 years for people to pay those mortgages off for me. And at the end of the line, I'm going to sell the houses and I'm going to have, I mean, as of right now, I've got a portfolio worth somewhere around $2 million. So that's my, I want you to learn how to do this. So the first step in this thing, guys, is getting money. That's what most people don't realize about investing, is you cannot invest in money. And like we talked about without money, like we talked about last week, if you are trying to get some, like, hey, this is a no money down deal that I got $1 billion out of, that it's so rare, guys, so rare. The no money down deals, they do exist. I don't want to discourage anybody, but if you spend your life and you're just going out and that's what you're looking for, you're going to have a lot of heartbreak. You should just learn how to invest, and should a no money down deal fall on your plate, grab it. But then you'll have the expertise to handle it, because those no money down deals are always scary. So starting with flips. Oh, and then I forgot to explain why. I've got about 200 clients right now. And by the way, if you're a wholesaler, this is not a wholesaling list. These are people that have specifically reached out to me. I have spoken to every single one of them on the phone. They all want different types of investment properties. And the first thing we're going to learn about is flips, which is going to make a lot of this fall into something that they're going to want. Because if it meets a flip criteria, it's usually going to meet a BRRRR criteria, and it's definitely going to meet a like a turnkey or anything like that, should it work out. But let's talk a little bit about what we're looking for in a investment property, just at all. First and foremost, the most important thing, if you are talking to an investor, or if you are talking to not a traditional client, guys, my hats change very drastically when I go from a traditional, like, hey, I want to live here, to an investor. Investors are concerned about one thing and one thing only, and that's money. Guys, that's it. That's why you invested. I'm giving money to get more money back. So whenever you're looking at a property, you need to speak in dollars and cents. Nobody really cares what color the walls are, or isn't this a pretty accent color, or anything like that. Yes, that might be pertinent when we're talking about things like Airbnb and other stuff. But for general investing purposes, nobody cares what color the house is, as long as it'll rent. Nobody cares what kind of tile you use, as long as somebody will buy it. So that's, you need to understand, is something called an ARV. How many of y'all have ever heard the ARV number? Throw me a thumbs up. How many of you ever heard that? Who can tell me what it means? After repair value, right, guys? That is the first thing that we need to know, is it stands for after repair value. First thing that we're talking about is something called an ARV, and which is the after repair value. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are selling a house that is ready for somebody to move in, that is the value of the house. Okay, that's the most important thing. This is what we figure out when we're doing CMAs, okay? A comparable market analysis. How much is this home worth? In investing, we use the term ARV a lot. The reason why is we're talking about houses that more than likely need some sort of repair. Maybe it needs a new roof, all new closets, or carpet, or tile, or whatever it might be, guys. If there is a repair involved, I want to know what the house will sell for after it is repaired. Okay. So after repair value, that's a really big word that you need to learn how to use. And then the next thing that everybody always gets mixed up whenever we're talking about this is purchase price. Guys, purchase price is exactly what it sounds like. It's how much am I buying the property for? And then I need to know how much is it worth afterwards. All right. So whenever we're doing an ARV, first and foremost, I hate that I had to change a setting. There's usually a map right here that shows me where all the little things are, and I had to change some setting. But what this does is it pulls comps for me very quickly, and it's very generic. It's a half mile in the last 6 months, not beds and baths and neighborhoods and defined lines or anything like that. It's just like drawing a circle, what's sold, period, the end. So she's looking at this house, guys. I'm going to find the ARV for it. So it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 672 square feet. I'm going to look for all these down here that have 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see, oh, of course, good God. This is the stuff that drives me crazy. Sometimes those links are broken. Usually I can see the pictures. So the most important thing, the reason why I want to see the pictures, guys, is I know this house sold for $126,000. They were asking 126. It sold for 126. Did that house have a roof? I don't know. I mean, I bought $120,000 houses without roofs, and I have to put a roof on it. So that's what I need to know. Is this going to be what I would consider an after repaired house? All right. Let's take a look. Decent outside, bars are still on it. Okay, very generic on the inside. Doesn't look like there's HVAC. This does not look updated. However, it is clean. I would call this grandma's house. If I flipped a house, I would probably not make the kitchen look like that. So I don't think this would be a very fair ARV, one to include, but it does give me an idea of what's down there, right? So that one, fine, whatever. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to do this real quick in MLS because I think it'll be Priscilla 114. Good one, right?
Yes.
All right. The proper way to do this would be to zoom in, and I'm going to see exactly where these neighborhoods are, these big long lines, stuff like that. I think the perfect comp area would be inside this triangle. But let's see if there's anything in there. I don't care what has sold. I don't care what is for sale. I want to know what has sold in order for me to do this. 6 months is preferable, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see what this looks like. All right, so there's 4 houses that have sold in that triangle in the past 6 months. Let's take a look-see. And this one looks like an absolute turd. So that is not a good comp for an after repair value. That is a before repair value. Let's take a look-see here. And there's 1 photo. I don't know how they did that. You're supposed to have 4 photos. So that one is not going to help. All right, handmade ramp out front, bars on windows, and that does not look like it's been repaired. It looks exactly like it did in 1967. So I don't think that's a good after repair value. Ooh, let's take a look at this 4-bedroom, 1-bath. This is an after repair, guys. If I flipped a house, I could see myself leaving the cabinets and just painting them. If the countertops, they look like they put in quartz, rounded quartz, generic sink. They put in some track lighting, which is kind of fun. Stove looks new. It's got a new vent hood, new ceiling fans. That doesn't look updated, but it does look like it's in good shape. Hot water heater looks old too. And the reason I know that, guys, is they don't really make white ones like that anymore. They're usually a little grayer. Nice, decent backyard, but this is a 4-bedroom, 1-bath. So 190 is going to probably be the closest that I've got. If I look at the price per square foot, it's selling for about a 40 per square foot. I still don't really like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make these boundaries just a little bit bigger. So let's see if I can do this. Screw it. Start over. Let's just do a good old-fashioned circle real quick. Finds anything else for me. Yep, found a lot more. 3-2, 3-2. This looks like a great little comp right here. Special financing available. Look at it, guys. This is a perfect example of a flip. This is what I'm looking for when I'm looking for comps. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's gotten fresh. It's new paint, new doors, new flooring. It's kind of a wonky house. I mean, you can tell because I mean this is virtually staged. I don't know who does that. You can see it's got this little slant to the roof and different stuff like that. But it is cute, very well maintained. I like this one as a comp. Let's take a look. $138 a square foot. So that 140 a square foot seems to be pretty consistent. Let's see it. This was that 2.2. We already looked at that one. 3.121. That one we already looked at.
Is there an option for recent rehab?
There is, but we're going to get into that in just a second, which that's a great question, guys. So one of the things that we really got to talk about is that you can adjust all of these tabs whenever you're searching for a property. Down here, there's miscellaneous, which there is a recent rehab button in here, I believe. No, it is not in here. But all you got to do is add or remove fields. And I can't remember what field recent rehab is.
Rehab.
Is it just, oh, there you go. Recent rehab. Now, guys, I'm leery about adding this. So when I add it, it refreshes and you can see it's down here and I can just say the word yes. And if you've ever listed a property, that's one of the fields that you can add. So this will tell me everything recently rehabbed, and there's our one comp. Now, instead of going through how to do a CMA, let's just pretend we're at $140 a square foot for simple math, and we have $672 in repairs. Hey, Priscilla, do you have any photos of the property?
Yes. Oh, it's on the MLS. Those are the photos. Yeah.
Are you sure? Oh, yeah. Okay. So if we have 672 square feet, so guys, y'all know how to run comps. There's other videos about this. We'll say it's 140 a square foot. So let's just pretend the after repair value on this house is $95,000. That's what I think I can sell the property for. Okay. And she says it's in the MLS. So let's take a look, see. Right. All right, so let's go back over here. Oh, that's not it.
114.
114. Oh, so it's active at 110. So it's active at what I would consider on the higher side at 163. I don't remember seeing any comps that were at 163 a square foot. And again, this house isn't even painted. So, yeah, so this one needs a lot of repair. Okay, a lot of repair. And they're asking $110,000 for this property. Now, when I see this initially, if I am out looking for a flip, right? That's the entire process that we're going through here. If I'm out looking for a flip, oh, I'll get to that. This would look like a good flip opportunity. And for the price of $110,000, I'm like, oh man, right? The average sell price in San Antonio is over 300. So immediately, yeah, I'm going to go, oh wait, this might be a deal. First thing I'm gonna do is check the comps. And I'm like, man, they're asking too much money for that house. I think everybody would agree with me. Even from the stuff that I saw that was like super nice. Like if we go back to, this is why I like to use this one. But if I go back to Propelio and find this one that sold for 190, which is a 4-bedroom, 1-bath, it's still only sold for $140 a square foot. For a cute house that's significantly bigger and doesn't need massive repairs. So what they're probably doing is they saw this price and they go, oh, somebody can fix it up and it's worth 190. It's not going to be worth 190 because this one's also 1,400 square foot and this one's 672. So whenever we have a house, but let's pretend we're going to buy this. Let's find out, because the next thing that we learn whenever we do this is something called the maximum allowable offer. What can I offer on this house? The way 95% of flippers do this math is if I have a $95,000 house, is I want 75% of that to be my all in. My all in. That last 25% is my profit. And it's also my, oh shit, something went wrong. Because something will go wrong, right? I mean, it's going to eat into that. It's also going to have holding cost, insurance costs, things of that nature kind of worked into it. Okay. But $71,000 right now, if that house was perfect, would be my maximum allowable offer on that for a flip. Now, we all agree that this house needs a lot of work. Now, if I'm looking at this and I don't actually drive to the property and feel it, I will say this, the best option, I never buy a house unless I walk it. I'm not going to walk it unless the numbers make sense, right? So what do I see when I see this house, right? So, where to start? The first thing I would do is I'd go through here and I'd be like, hey, look, we need new floors, new paint, new fixtures, right? I think everybody's agreeing. We're going to need new blinds because those are beat to shit. Flooring in here. If I can save these cabinets, let's pretend they're in good enough shape where I can save them. Let's just say I paint them or maybe put new faces on them in hardware. That back door looks good. It's going to need new appliances. It's going to need this tile job that we're probably going to have to rip all this out, board this window up, buy a new vanity because you don't have anywhere to put your toothbrush. That's going to, yeah, the bathroom's going to have to come out. That just looks creepy. This tells me right now, and you can also look up at the ceiling, guys, that there are no air conditioning vents anywhere throughout this house. And this is another big one. This is probably here because that window's broken, right? So I've got at least a window pane of glass to fix. So first and foremost, the way I think about this is if a house needs a full facelift, and so that means that's the kind of flip everybody wants to do. They don't really exist right now, but everybody wants to do what I call a lipstick flip. If you go into a house and you put new floors, paint the thing, new hardware, new fixtures, new hardware, that kind of stuff. Generally speaking, guys, again, generally, it's about $20 a square foot right now is what I consider. All right. So let's go back. I'm at 71,250. This house was 172 square feet. So anybody real quick, 672 times $20. All right. So 13,440. Thank you guys. Is what it would take just for me to facelift that house. So now I'm down to $57,810. Let's take a look at this property again. That's just the facelift, guys. Just the facelift. Stop it. How do I stop? How do I make this go away? Now, what about that one? Sometimes I hate Zoom. All right. Oh, there it is. Okay. So on the outside, the next thing is I'm going to take a look at this roof. Because there's an old pecan tree on top of it, and then plus all this dish stuff, I'm going to go ahead and assume it needs a new roof. New roofs cost me about $140 a square. A square is about 10 square feet. I'm going to need about 60 squares on that. So it's about a $6,000 roof. Probably a little less, actually. So probably, let's just say a $6,000 roof. So I need to take that out of there. I'm also going to need a new HVAC. And it's going to be a complete install. Just from experience, guys, something on this size of a house is probably going to be about another $6,000. By the way, guys, air conditioners are small houses, say 6,000, bigger houses up to about 2,500, 3,000 square feet. That's about a $10,000 AC install. So 6 to 10 grand, that should help, guys. Roofs, same thing, 6 to 10 grand. They're kind of the same as air conditioners. It's about the same price, just for quick math. Next thing, guys, is I'm definitely going to have to paint the entire exterior of this house because it is wood siding. I don't know if y'all caught that. This is wood siding. It's going to need to be scraped. It's going to need to be scraped and repainted. It's not just walking around with a paint sprayer. They're going to have to work on it. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look very, very closely at the rest of this. Make sure it's not so rotted I can't fix it. I think it should. Let's pretend it's okay. So repainting the exterior on this house is about another 3 grand. Let's say 4 grand with the scraping. Down to $41,000. Anybody else got any suggestions or anything that you're seeing? You're like, man, Collin, we absolutely need to redo this.
Flooring.
That's going to come in the $20.
Oh, yeah. Kitchen, bathroom.
So yeah, so my $20 a square foot does not include replacing things like vanities and mirrors. Okay. Usually those are in there already, and I just need to make them pretty. The $20 a square foot is to paint the vanity and maybe frame the mirror if I need to. It's not replacements. It
Foundation
does
check.
include floor replacement, and then popcorn ceilings usually too.
Foundation checked.
A foundation check. Definitely have my foundation guy out here. Another fun fact, guys, as we take a look at this, it's built in 1920. I'd bet $95 that this is a cedar post foundation.
Which is cheaper than slab.
Well, guys, back in the day, so they've used cedar because cedar doesn't rot. If cedar gets wet, it doesn't rot. So they would hold the house up with cedar post. Guys, it's still wood. It's going to compress over time, right? So a lot of these things compress, they get bad. They tend to come in and fix them with concrete piers. I don't even want to get into that. A concrete pier is going to cost you about $600 a pier. How many piers go into a house? I think one every 8 feet. Is that what it is, Priscilla? Is that what they want, depending on how bad the foundation is? So guys,
I don't know.
it's 8 or 10 feet. I can't remember. So if you take your house and you're looking straight down on it and do 10-foot squares, and if you need all of them, just do the math on that. Let's assume that there's no foundation problems on this one.
And are you still doing HVACs in these small houses? Because I know a lot of people are putting mini splits.
I personally do, because the cost difference between a mini split and putting in a true air conditioner is not that much. So this house right here would probably require 3 mini splits, one for each bedroom and one for the rest of the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I did those 3 mini splits, I'd pay, I don't know, $1,800 a mini split plus install, right? So you save that out, I'm saving $600, and I'm going to have massive problems because you're drilling holes through the side of your house. You're doing all that stuff. I'd rather drill one hole, run all my stuff through, just have the duct work and it's done. That's me personally. Yeah, you could save a couple $100, maybe $1,000, but I'm too lazy to do that personally.
Yeah. So the mini split thing, here's how if you've got a guy you trust, you can buy those things on Amazon, buy them, and then have the guy you trust install them. That's the only way to save money on those things.
And then guys, the next thing is, we'll get into rehab talk later, but there's permitting process and all this stuff. So if you got some guy you trust and you're buying stuff off the internet, like, you might have a hard time passing permits. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of those.
Okay, so wait, so back to the foundation thing. I'm doing a flip downtown on the east side, and right now, I think it's 1,400 square feet. I got 75 piers in there because it was 7 inches off. So that really is a wide range. It could go from $5,000 to $50,000.
It really can, guys. And then the next thing is, if it's a slab, you can break pipes. It's a whole thing. Don't be scared of foundation problems. I buy houses all the time with foundation problems. The uglier the foundation, the better for me, because everybody's scared of them except for me. And you can fix anything. So you just got to work the numbers in. So the other thing I would say, guys, is some general replacement. A vanity like this, I'd probably get a wider one. I'd probably get for $150, $200 plus install, plus the mirror. So let's say that's $500. I'm probably going to add in about $2,000 for the framing in here, and then plus the 3-piece surround. So there's one bathroom, so that's an extra $1,500. Let's say the glass repair, and let's say I repair the siding on this, I'm going to round this whole thing out to, let's say, an additional $2,500. And then cleaning this thing up and making sure it's secure, I'm just going to add an extra $5,000 just for giggles. So guys, this becomes my maximum allowable offer on that house. I would not offer anything more than $36,810 if I assume that's what's going on with it. Now, everybody that's watching this that has no experience flipping is like, Collin, how'd you come up with all those numbers? Let's write them all down. Guys, just for the most part, consider $20 a square foot if it needs a complete facelift. So let's pretend they just painted all the walls and the walls are perfect, right? There's no popcorn ceiling. I'm not going to do that. It costs me about $3 a square foot to paint, right? So I'm going to bring that off. So now I'm down to $17 a square foot. Is everybody tracking with me on that? If the flooring's perfect, flooring's $1.50, $2 a square foot for the flooring, and plus about another $1 to install it, depending on what it is. Right. So that's another $3 a square foot. So if the floors are good and the walls are good, I'm taking off $6 a square foot. I'm down to $14 a square foot. you just kind of fluctuate that a little bit, guys. I know it sounds weird. Let's say the drywall's torn to hell and the kids punched holes in it because they were mad and they got evicted. I'm going to take it up about $2 more a square foot because now I got to do drywall repair. All right. If the drywall's ripped out and there's no drywall at all, call a contractor because that's you're going to have a lot more problems than just putting drywall back up. I can promise. So just a general rule of thumb, guys, it's an art, not a science, and you have to do it over and over again to get good at it. That's fine. I don't mind at all. You can call me and ask me questions. It's fine. What do you think? And guys, again, I get a very, very good estimate when I walk the property. When I walk the property, you're going to see a lot more than what the pictures allow. So if I was looking at this one like Priscilla, I don't know if somebody sent this to you or whatever, but they're like, hey, it's $110,000. Look, it needs a lot of work. It's got a lot of potential, which I agree. I don't like the fact that it's a 2-1 and 672 square feet. I'm going to have a really hard time selling that. But if I'm renting it down on the south side, I should be able to rent it, but we're going to get into rentals later. Anyhow, guys, that's where I'm at. I would offer $31,000 on that house. So immediately, this house is disqualified for me. Priscilla, have you analyzed this at all?
I haven't in a while, but yeah, it's actually my listing. We have so you're basically, I'm glad that you're running the comps for me and you're doing all this because I'm like, okay, we have an offer that's pretty good that I should convince my client to take because it's way higher than the 30,000.
Yeah.
And he's like ready to close in a week and he's a cash. So
What's he offering?
he's offering 59.
Take it. I would take that all day long. Personally, I'd jump all over it
He's
because
offering 59.
ladies and gentlemen, I in all honesty, I learned my beginning investing from Eric. And guys, if you're using these kind of numbers to get to where you're at, you're not going to buy a bad deal. Now, I will say this, it's hard to find a deal because right now, like, I mean, if I sent a contract over to Melissa for whatever that was, $38,000, I mean, Priscilla, sorry, for $38,000, I'm sure she'd be like, where did that come from? And I explain it to my people. I'm like, look, nothing sold over 190 and that was twice as big. Nope. So you know what I mean? You just work through it. It's just numbers. And it doesn't hurt anything. But all right, so we've done this. Now, Collin, you analyze this property. Do you want me to do this to every property in the MLS? Sure, if you want to, if you got the time. Let me know which ones come out really well. But you and I both know, like most of the properties, like somebody sent me a $14 million property the other day. It was really cool. And I'm like, I'm not going to flip a $14 million property, right? Nobody is. So how do I find these in the MLS? So I want to point out some things that I really like that Priscilla did in her listing. Okay. First and foremost, if you look down here, PR terms, do y'all see this little bitty thing? If you've ever lifted a house, that says proposed terms. And these means, do you want an FHA? Do you want a VA? Do you want a conventional cash, whatever? But if you notice, one of the options is investors okay. Huh. All right. That's nice to know. Most of the time, people put that on properties where they know they're going to have to negotiate because the house is a turd. There's something wrong with the house. That's why they check that box. And 99 times out of 100, if this box is checked, VA and FHA aren't checked. VA and FHA will not lend on a house that has flaking paint, broken windows, no forced air, right? So all that stuff is exactly right. I think she did that really well. Another thing is it also says intention investors. I think that's very, very smart. Make sure we're looking at it. So let's go back to our search. Let's go to a classic search. And I want to add that box down here that says proposed terms. So I'm going to add or remove fields. And y'all saw it says, okay, it's always spelled out, proposed terms. Let's go ahead and add that. Okay. So let's do this again.
Collin.
Yo.
So I got a question about FHA. What is it? 401BK something repairs. I've never used it, but
It's a 203.
203, sorry, 203K.
Okay, yeah.
The repair one.
So are those common? I've never dealt with that before.
I'll let Priscilla answer this. They are getting more common because people can't afford these houses. They'd rather force into the equity, right?
Yeah.
But because I think they lend on what they consider the after repair value. You get the appraisal for both sides of this thing and what you're going to do to it. You got to have the proposed scope of work. You get it over to your caseworker. They come back. Title actually holds funds for repairs. You have to have licensed GCs. It's a whole thing. And I think you have 6 months, Priscilla, to move into
Yeah,
the.
you have a certain amount of months
Yeah,
to do the
I think
rehab.
it's
But I
6.
think the biggest hurdle is like first of all, FHA has to be your primary, right? Like if you're buying it to live in it, so you're gonna do the rehab. And a lot of the people that want that type of loan is because they only qualify for a small amount. So I'm like, okay, well, you're looking at a house because you only qualify for 100,000. They're like, okay, well then I want that house. Can I do the 203K? I'm like, yeah, but you have to you have to put it up to standard now. So it's going to cost like, 15,000 to repair it, and you don't qualify for 115. You only qualify for 100. So it's like that, and then it's only and they only give you a certain amount for the rehab, and they're small amounts. It's not like you're gonna do like 30, 40, $50,000 rehab on a 203K.
But the key, guys, is yes, that exists. Israel just said he tried it with 2 clients. Neither one of them could get to the closing table because, and I've seen people do it. I've never personally tried to do it, but everybody that has ever talked to me about it says that the level of administrative persistence that you need to close these deals and keep them on track is just off the charts. So they're hard, they're owner occupied, does not work well for investments unless you have somebody who's willing to live in a house that needs work while they fix it. Okay. Anyways, back to my original thing, guys. So if I go back down to proposed terms and I click investors, okay. The other thing I would suggest, guys, is I don't want to see any properties that are an option because they've already got a contract. That doesn't help me. I don't want to see anything. This stands for active right of first refusal, meaning that there's a contract and they have the right of first refusal, but you can still send an offer in on it. These are all the ones that I'm really interested in, and probably not, man, let's leave the new ones in for now. All right, so all I have is investors okay and everything that's basically for sale. Watch what happens. There's gonna be over 500 of them, I guarantee it. Yep. So we exceeded the search limitations. That's a lot. Now here's the next thing. I'm probably not gonna want to flip out here. I don't know about you. Oh, by the way, guys, whenever you do a search, did y'all know it sorts it by price? So the lowest is always number 1. The highest is gonna be whatever it goes to. Okay. So I'm probably not going to want to send one out here. So I'm going to refine it to San Antonio, right? Let's see what's just in. We got to change that starting address. So let's just do something like this. Just so we can all learn. All right. There's still more than 500 of them, guys, right? So there's a ton of houses out here for sale. There's over 500 of them that people are saying it's investor okay. The next thing that I don't want to mess with, personally, I don't like manufactured homes. I'm not a manufactured home guy. I don't know many that are. I know you can make a lot of money doing it. So now I'm going to go in there and I'm going to change that where it's type, where I don't want manufactured model. We can do townhomes, right? Let's try that. Oops. So all I'm doing is tighten up my search. We still got over 500 of them. Well, guys, this is what I would do. I would start burning through these things. This is a good one. I'd start burning through them. Look at them out this way. Does anybody else? I have a few other suggestions, but I want to hear what y'all say before I do this. Does anybody else have any other suggestions on what you should look for in SABOR or any MLS when you're looking for an investment property?
Zip code.
Yeah,
Zip
a
code?
lot of people will say fixer upper, investors things, handyman special, things like that. I don't know if you can actually
And
type
those
that
are
in.
in the comments section, which if you go to comments, you can't find comment sections, right? We can't search by that. So that, even though that's good, it's probably
in
not
agent
gonna,
remarks.
is it agent remarks?
Yeah, it's in agent remarks.
There you go. So if we add agent
I know it
remarks,
comes up.
So agent remarks. Let's do investor, singular. And the other thing that I like to do, guys, is in this miscellaneous. There's one that I like to check. Oh, as is. I like seeing things that are as is. That they are flat out telling me we ain't fixing this thing. I'm not gonna do it. So now let's take a look. Boom, we're down to 2. Isn't that fun? One on Magnolia Avenue, right, which is downtown, guys, at 199 or 299, sorry. And then this other one on the south side near Hot Wells for 199. Guys, we refined our search too much, but y'all want to look at these two real quick? See if these are worth a flip. Get it? Right. That and see, so very interesting fact is that remember, guys, the agents have to remember to click the button as is. And that's probably what tied this thing up so tight, this search. So let's take a look real quick. For rent. Oh, it's a big one. Work, virtually staged. It's dirty. It's got a weird air vent there. Need to get that out patch. They worked on painting. Oh, this one's a really hard one to rehab or to estimate.
One of my partners getting under contract for a facility.
Guys, by the way, on this one, considering the rest of the house, right? I don't think I'd replace, I think I would replace these cabinets. These are all coming out. So this little cabinet upgrade, by the way, each one of these cabinets is about 150 bucks. So do the math on that. There's 3, there's 6, there's 9. So let's say 1,000 lowers and 1,000 on the uppers plus install, plus countertops, plus backsplash. Install, I always tell everybody just it's about 150, so double it. So I got 2,000, 4,000 plus the countertops, probably another 2, so about 6,000 plus the backstash, purchase plus installation, another 1,000 plus new sink, plumbing install. That's about $1,000 if you include the garbage disposal. So right there, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, about 10 grand to redo that little kitchen right there. On a quick one. I love how they virtually staged this. See, now this is one that I would absolutely have to walk. So let's just pretend I'm looking at this house. I'm like, shit, I could almost do that rehab. I really don't like the front elevation. I think that's going to make it hard to sell, but you know, it doesn't look like it's too much work. It looks like it'd be kind of fun to finish. They're asking $200,000 for it. The address is in Hot Wells. So like I said, you can go back and search this in the MLS, but I like this. It's just way quicker. And this kind of, I've also done this in Zillow, guys. You can just go get a Zestimate on your house because it kind of gives you a good average. Come on. There we go. Oh, estimated value 176. 1,500 square foot, says 3.2. Over here, they're telling me it is a 4.2. Square footage is right, 1,492. I think it said it was a little smaller. Yeah, no, that's right. Let's go back and look at the 3.2s and 4.2s. There's a 3.2, sold for 150. Here's another 3.2, sold for 190. So in my humble opinion, this guy's out of his mind asking 199 for a house that's not finished, because all the ones that are finished, like this one on Monticello Court, that's only 200 square feet smaller, sold for 190. To me, I think he's out of his mind. I would want to go walk that property. I would not send that to anybody. I'd be like, nah, let's look at this one real quick. Magnolia. This one ought to be real interesting too. And by the way, guys, just because I'm searching this now doesn't mean this is what it's going to look like in 10 minutes. If I log back into the MLS in 10 minutes, there may be 30 more properties. Remember, there's something like 2,000 agents here in San Antonio, constantly putting things in here. Okay, so it's saying it's worth 294. Huh. All right, that's a quick estimate. God, I hate this thing. So man, that's Pearl area, right? Maybe it's worth more. See what's sold real quick. And if anybody wants access to this Propelio stuff, just shoot me an email. I think I can put as many people as I want on here. But the game is you got to send me your deals. But I'm gonna explain that part in just a minute. Oh, sorry, where are we at? We're at a 3-2. Let's look at this one in Monte Vista. Ooh, pretty. Man, that is grandma's house to the extreme, right? Love all that shit up there. Hey, but this hasn't sold. It's listed for 755. Huh. 2,000 square foot, 3-2. That's on East Summit. This one's on Magnolia. Let's see if there's anything in Magnolia. So this one. Oh, wait. Yeah. See, these are on market. Sorry. So this one's on Magnolia. This one sold for 295, 1,300 square feet. Cute. Not rehab, though. I wouldn't use that as an ARV. Let's try this one. Trail Street. Ah, perfect. This is a perfect little rehab here. I knew it. Yep. Flip all day long. Does everybody see that? It's a straight up flip. It's on Trail Street, 250 a square foot. Let's say I add this one in here, guys, because all that does is it takes my square footage and then multiplies it by the house. It says it's worth 280. Or I can do average prices. So, but I like the square footage one better. Again, guys, that does not mean the house is worth 280. It's just an estimate. You're going to have to go do a CMA to find out what it's worth, do individual line adjustments. But and for the sake of speeding this video up, I can come over here and see what everything sold for. So 17 sold properties in the last 6 months, 190. What? Here's one sold for 280. Ooh, 354. And that's on Magnolia. I'm assuming that's beautiful. It's a 2-1 that's 1,000 square foot. All right. So let's see how much rehab this dang thing needs. All right. You know, this one ain't half bad. Huh. This one's got some, this one's interesting to me. So this would definitely be one that I would want to go walk because, okay, so here's what I'm thinking real fast, guys. Paint the front fence, maybe level it up. That shouldn't be too hard because it doesn't look beat to hell. So that should be pretty cheap. I'd say probably $2,000 to get that fixed. Exterior of this, I would need to replace this awning more than likely. Those things are expensive. Let's say $3,000 for that one awning. Paint the outside, fix the siding. We'll say another $5,000. Paint the front porch, not that big a deal. I love hardwood floors, especially if they're in good shape, because these look like hell, but the guys can come in and refinish those for next to nothing. I mean, they'd probably do this whole house. How big is it? Probably $3-4,000. Something like that. Not too bad. The roof actually looks surprisingly good. And here's a good indicator is you can see this little thing right here. It's called a ridge vent, guys. That became code in 2016, I think. Remember, we used to have those whirly birds or just the random poles that came straight out, which we still have for ventilation on bathrooms and stuff. But this is to vent your attic. So if you see a ridge vent on there, that roof is probably 5 years old at most, 6 years probably. So that's really nice to see. So that roof is probably in great shape. I would leave the front door. I think I might get a new one. But guys, I mean, honestly, I see this rehab because I don't see the kitchen or the bathrooms. So I'm going to take that $20 a square foot and I'm going to add on probably an extra $20,000. Just because it's a fancy house. Ooh, and I wanted to see what this one looked like because this is 1,000 square feet. This one is 1,100 square feet. So guys, this rehab, there is nothing phenomenal about this rehab. I don't know if y'all would agree with me. They refinished the floors, just like I said. They did replace the windows. Oh, I don't even know where to start talking about windows. If you got a small house like this, just assume 15,000. And this house sold for 350, guys. All right, let's do some quick math. Let's see if this is anywhere close. Let's say the ARV is 350. I'm not going to do the square footage thing. Well, what did it come out to? Like 288, right? Is that what it came out to? 75% of that. 216. What were they asking for? What was the house? 523. Yeah. But see, they're already asking 300. So they're asking just too much, right? I mean, 216 minus my rehab. I mean, I'd probably want to get that house somewhere around 175, right? is what I'm guessing. So he's got it overpriced too. That's why it hadn't sold. Been on the market 202 days. Ta-da. So that's why it's been on the market 202 days, guys. And I know it's kind of like, Colin, you showed us two and it's not a deal. Guys, we're Easter egg hunting. I mean, everybody's doing this exact same thing. And I will point out one more thing. While I am searching for things, oh, shoot. That is another great thing to search for. How many days on market has it been? Do cumulative, do both. Why not? If something's been on the market, let's say minimum of 365 days. They got to be willing to make a deal sooner or later. Good God, there's over 500 deals that have been on the market more than a year.
That's Houston.
Well, yeah, because we got R now too. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can filter anything. So many. This house has been on the market for 365 days, guys, at least. But yeah, guys, that's what we're doing. Also, another thing for me personally, I always want at least a 3-2 if I'm flipping, unless it's just a hell of a deal. Unless I'm another thing. So we're talking, I said 75%. That's what we call a 75% deal. That's kind of the vernacular, right? If somebody comes up to you, hey man, I got this thing, but it's an 80% deal. You know exactly what you're getting into, right? An 80% deal might work, but I'm going to want my contractor in there guaranteeing, like I want that on the point, right? Because I don't have a lot of error on that. And I know y'all think 20% sounds like a lot of error, but it's really not. That goes pretty quick if you mess something up. All right. So last part of this, and I'm going to send this link out to everybody. Don't worry about writing it down. But I've created a little sheet for y'all that if you find something that you think would work, put it in this sheet for me. And it'll send me a message so that way I can see it. It's got your license number. I know who you are. I'll analyze the deal too. And if I like it, I'm going to pair it up with one of my buyers and I'll pay you 1% of the commission or whatever it might work out to be, guys. Because if they're offering, I'll pay you a third of the commission, whatever it is. If it's a wholesale deal, we got to add money on top of it. We're going to have to talk. If you find a killer wholesale deal, guys, I'm real nervous about wholesale deals because you've ever heard the saying buyers are liars? Wholesalers are worse sometimes. Okay. If you've wholesale, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but everybody goes, oh my God, this house is only $50,000. It's worth 700,000. It only needs $5,000 in rehab. It's whatever, dude. Like there's, or they do the exact opposite. They do exactly what I did and they work out what a 75% deal is. And that's where they market it at, even though they don't know anything about rehab. So they're like, oh yeah, well, I mean, the whole back wall's missing, but you get one of those fixed for like $2,000. I'm like, what? It's $2,000 and 2x4s. You know what I mean? It's like there's no way we're going to be able to put that all back together that easily, but do your best. So guys, I'm going to send this out to y'all. If you would like, if you see a deal, if it's a wholesale deal and you think it works, put it in here. Just, hey, I need to make sure I change that somewhere in here, guys. Just put that it's a wholesale deal. That way we know to add something on top of it so we can all get paid. But, all right, any questions, comments, concerns? Because we're at exactly 1 hour right now. Man, you guys are so flattering. I'm the greatest teacher in the world. Every time I teach something, nobody has any questions. Makes me feel smart. Guys, I'm going to send y'all this video out to everybody, or I'm going to put it on the Facebook page. We're having a problem with the email. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you for coming and catching this. I'm going to try and email it to you. If I can't figure that out, then I'm going to put it on the Facebook page. But this is the link for the thing. Put any deals that you think are good. And that's how you flip a property. 75% rehab, roughly $20 a square foot. Add in the rest of your stuff. If you've got questions about it, call me, email me. Hey, Colin, how much do you think a roof on this house would cost? Send it to me. If I don't know, I'm going to send it to my roofer and he'll tell me. So we'll figure it out, guys. If you got questions, send it to me. If you think you got a deal, plug it in here. Let's get you paid. So for those of y'all that are new and you've got nothing better to do than sit down and learn, sit down and crank through properties and start sending me properties. Because 1% at a time and you don't have to deal with the paperwork, you're going to be doing really well. All right. Love you guys. Go kill something. Let's eat it. All right. All right. Bye, guys.